everyone. Welcome to the newest episode of Storytellers, and this will actually be the first one of 2024. I'm so excited. We're in this new year, and we have such a special guest today who is has launched a new venture of her own. And you might know her from her incredible and beautiful and aesthetic videos on her heavily followed YouTube channel, her Instagram. You know her as XO MaCenna. We have MaCenna Lee here. Hello, MaCenna. Thank you
Thank
for
you
joining.
so much for having me. I'm so excited. And we're starting off the year with me. That's a little
Yes,
well,
yes, I
sure.
know. First of 2024, and it's going to be a big year. I can feel it already. I know that 2024 is going to be the best
I
year.
feel it too. It feels like a good one for sure.
Yes. Well, it's definitely going to be a good one. I mean, at least we're going to be having some good smells in the house through the year because we have Auden Lueur, your new candle line that has come out, and I am so excited to be a proud owner of one of them. I have the Arlo here, and it smells so good. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yay, that makes me so happy. The amount of work and revisions that went into like not only just developing the sense, and I'm pretty proud my nose, how they say like you have a
Yeah.
Maurice have a nose. I'm like, my nose has developed a lot. And my mom was like, what did you just say? I was
Yeah.
like, no, my
I know.
nose.
It's funny that you say that too, because when I was watching, so you did this three-part series of kind of the making of. And in the first one, you were sniffing through a few different candle scents and you went and grabbed the coffee. And then overlaying the coffee, it was like there is no correlation between
No.
like coffee and being able to smell better.
Can you believe that? I
That's
thought
hilarious.
my whole life that if you smelled coffee in between
Yeah.
smelling anything, that it was supposed to help cleanse your palate. And then I randomly was on TikTok and it came up and it was this perfumer, like high end, and they were like, the common myth is that coffee helps, and it doesn't. It's like what's that called when it's like a it just
Yeah.
like puts your
Like a
mind thinking,
placebo,
the
right? It's like a
placebo
placebo.
effect. Exactly.
Mhm.
I was like, I did not know this, but now I do. And I just like had to put it that in the video because like smelling the coffee made me laugh at the point that I knew it. I was like, I actually thought it was helping.
Yeah. So what are you supposed like, what do the perfumers use, I
They
wonder?
said just like fresh air, just like stepping away from it. Like the best thing that you can do is like go outside and then come back
Right.
and reset. I think there was maybe one other tip that he gave, but I was so shocked at that point that I was like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, it's funny too, it reminded me, of this during the height of the pandemic, there was, companies like and movie companies would send out like DVDs or like little um PR packages to watch and like give you a code to watch whatever movie at like a premiere. And one of them was called Nose. And so they sent me, and it's on like the top nose out of Paris. And they sent me like like a palette, I guess, of things to smell while I watched
Oh,
the
that's
movie,
cool.
which was so cool. But it's interesting, kind of like you just said, you can smell all these different hints and notes and stuff now. This guy would like smell one perfume and he'd be like, "Oh, that's musk, bergamot, and vanilla." And he'd be like, "And it's two parts this, one part,
Oh, that's
whatever."
wild.
Yeah. So were
That's
you able to just start to like smell the different notes at least individually?
Yeah, I was able to start to like instead of just like the initial note because we really wanted these candles to be very layered. I wanted you to smell them and not really know what you were smelling, but
Yeah.
really like it. Because I feel like that's a normal thing. It's like, oh, I don't know what this is, but I like it. So I
Mhm.
really wanted it to hit lots of different like notes. So each candle actually has tons of different notes, but at its core, they each have five, right?
Mhm.
So over time, I was able to smell not only the different layers and the different notes, but also how they impacted each other.
Mm.
So that was really cool. And I'm
Yeah.
not gonna pat myself on the back, but we were in like a big meeting with like the perfumery, and he was like, "Your nose is you have a really like." I was
Oh.
like, "Stop it! Thank you." That makes me so I'm so proud. Like, I was really trying, I think it was like anything you try really hard at, and
Yeah.
I would go to the stores and I would smell all these candles trying to do research. Like, no, why don't I like that? Or why
Mhm.
do I like this one? Like, what is it about it? And so I was trying to educate myself so much that when he said that, I was like, oh my God, the work paid off. Thank you so much.
Right. Well, especially when you're coming in a room with these like people who do this for a living and this is something that you want to do for a living. So you're with the best of the best. And so to be, you know,
Just recognize, even if he was lame,
recognized.
it helped me feel great. So I was all about it.
I love that. Now I loved how in addition to going through, what was in each item and how you kind of layered them, instead of it being, like you said, just this one scent that you smell, you describe it as like almost a memory and a feeling. And
Oh,
I loved that. I mean, the one I think it was a Lori that you were talking about, maybe that it was like you've just cleaned your house, but
yeah,
the windows are open and this
yeah.
air is coming in and it's just overwhelms you. And it was just such a beautiful like sensory overload when you were even saying that I could feel it, not just smell it.
Oh, that makes me really happy because, biggest challenge in selling candles online, right, is you don't get to smell them. So you depend a lot on really what I would say or what the website would be listed at. And I knew it was going to be a big obstacle to overcome. So when I was experiencing, the candles and I was really picking these notes, I had to really lean into what you said. It's like giving people something tangible and
Mhm.
myself something tangible so that I'm like, okay, what does my house smell like when I clean it? What does my house smell like? Or what does those flowers when I walk through the garden really smell like? And so it would probably give people different memories. And like,
Yeah.
you may be walking through a rose garden and I may be in some other garden,
Right.
but it's like, okay, I get it. I feel it. I can, and I hope it delivered, what I was saying, because those are really truly at my core what they smelled like to me. And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, as long as I can lead with what I know, hopefully
Right, right.
people will really see them and experience them. So it was really important for me to articulate them as best that I could. So
Yeah, and to
yeah,
use your own content and background for what people know you for,
yeah,
and this is like this that you have already seen me do, it
yeah,
keeps it really on brand too,
totally.
honors who you are and what people know about you.
Totally. This was very much a long time in the making, like, for over 4 years.
2018, that first
Yeah.
phone call.
And I was like, I want to create something. I don't want to create more waste. I don't want something to be not purposeful, So it really, and what I did in my everyday life, and then also through my content, is just like really paying attention to like repurposing and all of that stuff. It's like if I'm going to create a product, it's not going to be what maybe someone else would call merch, like they come out with, I said
Yes.
say that negatively, but like, you come out with like something that you slap your name on and
Your
you're
name
not
on.
part of. And I'm like, no, I don't have time for that. I want something that's meaningful. I want something that was like really built from the ground up and something that's so true to me that it's like undeniable. It's like, it's so true. So it was really hard to find the right people to work with. They really had to trust in like, let me do whatever I wanted. And so
Right.
it took this long to really find the right people and to work and for me to develop what it was going to be in my head. So it it's so crazy. It's like really good things really do take time. And
Mhm.
so it would not be as good today if it didn't have taken 4 or 5 years. Truly.
Yeah. Well, and there were like a lot of things too that you wanted that maybe were a little more untraditional. Like you did not want any labels
No,
on candle.
no labels.
Do you have and I love everything you said about like turning it around like at the store and being like, but because what does it look like from the front end? Because everything in your
Yeah.
life in your home is aesthetic. What did you have a concern at all with it not doning your name or the candle name when it came to just like marketing purposes? Or
Yeah.
is that just like not, yeah,
Yeah, I definitely thought about it, I'm like, well, labels obviously carry the information about what it is. They obviously carry, like the brand. Like I didn't know at the time how much, I wanted me as being online and being a personality online to influence the success of the business. I
Mhm.
knew it would be there in the beginning. I knew that was how we would really get this off the ground because I have launched a lot of businesses and a lot of products that were failure,
Oh.
and so over time, it's like I knew through trial and error and my failures, I knew what would work and I knew my influence would have some impact on the business's success. But I didn't want it to be that way forever. I wanted you to look at the brand and be like, oh, she did that. I almost don't even want my name tied to it at all because I think I didn't want my name to give it more value. It
Mm.
needed value in and of itself.
Mhm.
And I needed it to be able to stand with a diptyque and, not that price point, but,
Of
at that
course.
level of quality and have nothing to do that I may have people that liked my content and maybe I had help in the sales. So I almost was excited to be like, no one knows that it's me.
Yep.
That makes me excited. So like removing the label, or doing something like that actually was like more power to me because I'm like, I know the effort and the quality and the attention to detail that has gone into this. And as soon as you get one, you'll know it too. And I'm
Yep.
like, it's going to stand on its own. So I
Yep.
actually really, the label was never a question of whether it was going to be there or not.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And I think that it's so, like you said, empowering. And, when, hopefully it hits retailers, when
Yeah.
you're walking through, people smell it and they want it. And I think that
Yes.
and they will because it is, and it's beautiful. I mean, how can you not, your husband, I think it was in the
Yeah.
video, he was like, we could use this as a cup.
Yeah.
Right? You were like, clean the wax out first, but yes.
Yeah. Like be safe. So, like, make
I
sure
was
you clean it
like,
really well.
wait. But
But
it
yeah,
yeah.
totally can.
Yeah, and it's so thick. I mean, it could even be, I feel like a hot, you could have hot drinks in here. Like, I think that obviously it's hot wax. Um, it's just, I love the idea of reusing. I've never been able to do that with a candle holder.
Right. And it's like you get a candle, right? You go buy candles. Probably all of us have owned a candle at one point. And they all say, the brands will say, reuse it, repurpose it, whatever. But then you end up keeping it. If you're anything like me, you keep a couple of them and they stay on a shelf and you're like, okay, but really, like, I don't know, I don't want this. I don't
Right.
want to reuse this into anything. I don't what am I going to use it for? It's not cute enough or aesthetic enough, or it's not a piece of decor. So, really going into this whole business, it was really equally about creating an amazing candle, but also something that could be repurposed into your home and last forever. And
Mm,
so, reducing, the impact that we have. I never wanted to create more waste. So,
mm,
there was so much that went into everything. So, when it came to the vessel's design, it was so important for me to feel like it was like illegal to get rid of it. It was
yeah,
like it's a crime. Like you can't
this is
even bring
art.
yourself. Exactly.
Art.
That it's a work of art. It's a piece of decor that you love as a candle, but you also love and you're really excited to get creative about how you can repurpose it. It can be a vase, it could be a drinking glass, it could like
Yeah.
Romeo said the other day, he was like, well, you could just like eat like yogurt parfaits and like your
Oh
breakfast.
my gosh.
I feel like I'm so
Overnight
excited.
oats.
Yeah, and I'm so excited by people, like, surprising me with how they're repurposing it on ways that I never even thought of,
Mhm.
which is really exciting.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
and so I know that you got your kind of business management degree from FITM
Yeah.
when you did your undergrad. So did you implement like a lot of that knowledge into when it came to building this business? And have you also like done that in building your own brand and business?
Yeah, so, what's surprising? I think sometimes as a content creator, you get this certain you get put into a box,
Mhm.
right? Of, okay, we get what you're about. They generalize the content creation per person,
Right.
And what was surprising to anyone that I talked to or had or have conversations about or picking a partner, that they didn't quite realize who they were entering the room to talk to.
Mhm.
Like, no, I was the VP of marketing for a
Ugh,
really large company. I have a huge background in product development. I have literally so much knowledge about marketing. And so even when it came to starting to share my projects online, it was a business decision. It was I know how YouTube works. I know of the socials. YouTube's the one you should do if you want to make money. So
Yeah.
now how do I leverage that, and how do I figure out how to do that, and really let my personality shine, and that all develops later, but it really came down to it being a business decision. So I love when they're sitting there and I like start blah, 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 like I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, this, that,
Here's my
this.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, truly. And it's like,
Charts that I made. Yeah.
and it really comes down to even like going through the business decisions. I make decisions really quickly and I'm very definitive and clear about what I want and what I have experience from working, right?
Mhm.
So going through all of these growing pains of a new business too, product development, all of this stuff. It's like they weren't surprised. Like, I don't dwell on the things that don't matter. I make quick decisions about how we can move forward. And I always put like the product and the customer at its forefront. And they're just everyone just sits back and they're like,
Right.
do
Make it easy to partner with you.
yeah. So it's been a great experience, but you're totally right. I leveraged so much of my education and more so my experience
Great.
in marketing and in business and even dealing with like high end like I don't know, all the people and all the
Yep.
experiences we had played a huge role into this business 100%. This isn't another influencer brand. This is
It's a business.
it's a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just an extension of the business that you've already built for yourself.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tell me about also, when you said like you started posting on YouTube and started kind of sharing your projects, how did you develop your voice and like who, McKenna has become, XO McKenna has become online?
It's funny because I feel like I'm so grateful that I started the process later in life because
Mhm.
I think I had time to even develop as who I was as a human
Yeah.
offline, right? And be really confident in my own skin and my own likes and dislikes and everything. And so I think if I had I didn't start my YouTube channel until I was 30.
Mhm.
So I wasn't 16, I wasn't exploring who I was. I wasn't any of that. So I think in the beginning, though, it was very intimidating to be on camera. I mean, you've got a camera sitting in your face. And I just went through some of my old videos where I had false eyelashes on and was all dolled up and my voice
Oh my gosh.
was so I think within the first year, I got so much more comfortable on camera because I just started to be more myself. And
Mhm.
a big thing that encounters when I maybe meet someone that's been following me for a while or they meet me in person, they're actually surprised I'm the same person. And I'm
Mm.
you don't think about that. Like you don't
Right.
think that it's not a persona that's online. It's not I think that that's how I've been able to keep up with consistency and just like showing up genuinely online is that I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. I don't have to put on a face or a character that I know so many like other people in the industry kind of do.
Yeah.
No, I will turn on that camera, no makeup on, in the middle of
Yep.
getting dirty at a flea market. I do not care, and I think the human aspect of it and the realness of it is what kind of like really connects me with my audience, which makes me really happy. And then through that, I'm just who I am, like my
Right.
personality. Yeah.
And you're doing things that you love and you would do
Yes.
every day otherwise. So you're like, I might as well film it.
I
Right?
might as well share it.
Might as well share it with everyone.
And I'm a naturally like positive, upbeat, project driven person. So in my normal life, I'm doing a ton of stuff. I never have to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to film today. I don't know what project I'm going to work on. I'm like, no, there's 4 projects working in my brain at all times. I just like pluck one out. I'm like, we're going to do this today. And I've
Wow.
always been that way. So it's content has come very natural because just
Mhm.
the type of human I am, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's such like a I feel like since I've recently just started this myself and I'm
Yeah.
finding I've like had a voice as a reporter, but I'm finding my voice as Allie.
Yeah.
And I think that, you run into, and I don't know if it's called imposter syndrome really, because it's more so of just like a why would someone care what I have to like about what I have to say about this? Or like why would someone care about doing this today or me doing this type thing? And so it's
Yeah.
getting over that a lot. How did you get over that, especially, when you're doing your day-to-day stuff that you just love to do? How were you like, someone might care? So I want
Yeah. No, and I think I still have what you just
Mhm.
said. I think it's at times I'm like, dude, like, why do
Right.
you care about this? And I think I do it out of, the business side of it. It's like,
Mhm.
I have a schedule, I need a video, like, the blah, 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 blah. And you're constantly evolving, I think, as a creator too, like creating content. It's like, what are people going to resonate with, but also balanced with what I like.
Mhm.
It's a 50-50 thing. You don't do everything for your audience. You do half, and then you do half for yourself. And that's how you continue to love what you do. And I think in the beginning, I had that obviously a lot more. It's like, my first video got like 20 views. It's like, oh
Right,
my
right.
God, 20 people saw this. I don't even know what's going to keep them interested. I don't know. But with
Right.
everything that I've always done in business, in starting new business ventures and starting new projects, I give it a year and
Mhm.
I don't even think about it.
Okay.
It's not up for debate on whether there's not enough data. I'm very data driven. I'm like, there's not
Yeah.
enough feedback yet to determine whether people care or they're not interested or they are interested. So I gave my channel a year. I was like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna do this for a year. I'm not even gonna look. I don't even care how many views it gets. I'm not even gonna look
Uh-huh.
because it really comes down to like I needed to prove to myself that I needed to give it enough time. So
Mhm.
at a year, I assess. And then at a year, I was like, I think this is working. I don't know
Yeah.
what's working, but I think it's working and it helped me get through that period where you're experimenting too. It's like what kind of content are you
What
going to
works?
do? What works? What do I like? What do I resonate with? And then it gave me some time. So that helped with the imposter syndrome or like just like
Yeah.
why does someone care kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, Romeo, so he is a active participant
Yeah.
in some things. How do you my fiancé will, like, I sometimes have to just be like, "Come, just stand right here, and
Yeah.
that's all I need for you to do." How do you get him involved?
In the beginning, I think he
Pride.
tried. Yeah, he was like, "What am I doing? Like, do you really need me to do this?" Like, it thought it was
Yeah.
almost ridiculous.
Yes.
And he would try really hard if I tried, but he would get really impatient with me. And
Yep.
I just wait. He was like, "But I'm not doing anything." I'm like, "I need you to wait and stand there until I need you. That
Yep.
is helping me."
Yep.
And he just couldn't wrap his head around it.
Yep.
And as it grew and as it became something like you would think it would get easier, and
Yeah.
I think it did in some ways,
Okay.
but I depend a lot more on my tripod these days,
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
I don't think
Yep.
it doesn't ever get
Yep.
better.
Like,
Yeah,
he will never do, like, a photo shoot out I'll be like, "Oh, like, take a picture of me with the martini." He's like, "No flash."
absolutely not. He won't. No.
Now, you developed, of course, your candle company. What and you don't have to share because you might wanna make them things one day, but were there other things that you had in mind that you were like, candles or, champagne flutes? Like, I don't something
Right. It was in fact always candles. For
Yeah.
some odd reason, I think if the longer an idea stays in my mind, the more I know that it's real, the more
Mhm.
that I know that I'm not going to get over it or it was a trend or whatever. So if I
Yeah.
still like something 4 years later, it means it was pretty true to like what I wanted. But the goal is for it to expand into different things. Of course, more scents, of course, more candles, but also like taper candles and then tabletop things. And like the goal isn't for it to just like stay one thing. And maybe that means different brands. Maybe it's not, just one under the same label. Maybe we keep it really just true to candles and their accessories, I guess.
Mhm.
But the all my life, I've really always wanted to create products, and maybe it's a product development background, maybe it's just like the thing that I know. But I've always tried to do that throughout the years, even starting to make bracelets, like
Yeah.
when I was like really young at my mom's store, I would try and sell them and make them. I've always been doing that, so I think it's ingrained in me. But I do want it to become something bigger, than just it is right now, and be a full-fledged thing.
Oh, amazing. Well, I cannot wait to see what comes of it, of Auden Lueur. And I can't wait for everybody to go get their own. How can they get them? I know that they're sold exclusively online right
They're
now.
exclusively online at audenlueur.com,
Sure.
and we did sell out really quickly of our holiday candle, but this will be after the holidays. So we sold out really quickly of that, but the other two scents are evergreen. They're meant to be in your home forever, and they will be sold year round. So we have stock in that online, and eventually, hopefully, some retailers, hopefully in your area, but that's to be determined as we as we build the business. But I'm so
Love
excited.
it. I love mine, Auden Lueur, and such a beautiful box that it comes in, the coconut and soy blend. And everyone can watch on your EXO McKenna YouTube
Yes,
channel the how I made this,
the
which
whole
is
thing.
amazing that you documented that all, starting in 2018 with a phone
Yeah,
call.
which is crazy. It's just like it was really important for me to share everything about the process because I felt like someone would really get to see it from my point of view and my eyes, and it
Mm,
would be really they would feel more in tune with what was created, and it's more than a candle. It's a world,
the
that I really
world.
tried to create. So
When you get this candle, it's like you're inviting you into the home a little
yeah.
bit. It's very personal, and so to have that video attached to it and just, see where it came from and what your purpose for it was, and so just to know where it's coming from and what your thought process was behind it was very
Yeah, and that
inspiring.
it becomes I wanted it to become more of a conversation piece,
Mhm,
something that you
mhm.
really valued, and, like, if someone saw it, they were like, "Oh, that's so pretty," but like, "Oh, this girl did this and this,
Yeah,
you can reuse it after, and it smells so good, and this is how she" like, I feel like there's so much more, um, d meat to
depth
it.
to it, right, than just
Yeah.
the candle.
Yeah, this
Amazing.
has obviously been a long time in the making, and just to see everyone get the candles now and for it to be so well received, and that makes me so happy because it was like for something that you have for 4 years and then no one sees it but you, I put my heart on the line really, and I was very vulnerable through the launch process, through the making of series. I felt so exposed almost because I was so into it. I was so happy, and it was something so true to me. So seeing people get it and seeing the reaction, it's just been so overwhelming. And even like I'm so happy that it's in your home and you're gonna get to enjoy it. And oh, it makes me so happy. But I thank you so much for having me. This was so much
Oh,
fun.
McKenna, and I can't wait to have you on again next time you have a story to tell. I am here to listen. I'm so excited to follow you and your journey, and all that is to come.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. This is so
Thank
much
you
fun.
so much, McKenna.